Listen up, you group of snotlings. You, in the back, listen. Today, we are doing some field experience. And we are going to learn, and we are going to like it. What, you think this is funny? When your friend is laying dead, entrails spilled out, surrounded by Tyranids, you will not think this is funny. I've prepared for you a battle board that you will then analyze using our method of OC. We will go through this together so you may better understand these techniques so you may use them on the field. Son, the Emperor is weeping due to your lack of paying attention. Eyes forward. I will see you on the battlefield. Here we go. So I want to talk about what I talked about in the last tactics with Oak OC to talk about, showing some terrain. So first off, first O in Oak OC is going to be obstacles. Okay. So we're going to talk about obstacles first. Obstacles for me, at least in 40K, is anything that's going to hamper your movement. So basically, anything you define as difficult terrain. In this case, okay, for most of our stuff, if it's terrain, it's basically difficult. So this right here is going to be our first really good primary example of an obstacle. It's long, and you're not going to be able to move over it without taking a test. Okay, now we got some rubble behind it, but this one right here is the primary one. So we already know, hey, there's an obstacle. We got obstacles here, all right? This could be either way, depends on how you define it with your opponent, but for us, that's going to be almost always difficult terrain because it has a base. That's kind of what we do, all right? Base inside of here, any of the ruins. So these are all obstacles, okay? Back up there in the corner, and even this one's a little bit out of the shot, but we got one down here too, okay? So we have obstacles that we have all over the battlefield. So those are always good to see, all right? Where are my obstacles? Based on that, we can look at our avenues of approach. So I know that if I'm playing on this side of the board, and my opponent has this obstacle on his side of the board, that I have a little bit of a safe zone here, okay? Because it's going to take him a bit of an issue. Now, obviously you can mitigate that with your list if you have jump infantry or skimmers or that kind of thing. But it exists. It's something that we can keep track of. So we've got our obstacle here. We have a little bit of a safe zone on this side. I have one here as well on my side of the board. So my avenues of approach, in this case, actually kind of match our lovely mat here. It's the roads. Your roads give you pretty open avenues, but you have to look beyond that as well. There's a really good avenue up here in this corner on this back side. Okay, it's open right through here. All right, so that's going to give us a little bit of a line. Also, if you have some distance between obstacles, you have a line you can move there. So positioning yourself, if you need to move quickly from this area and then moving up and over this area, can be beneficial. Saves you from having to go through an obstacle. All right, on the converse side, same thing happening here. Big open space. So that's an avenue of approach. Okay, avenue of approach right through here. Obviously cutting through the center, that's where our road goes. Avenue of approach down here on this edge as well. So you got to see your avenues of approach, your likely lanes of movement. From there we go to key terrain. Now remember, key terrain is any terrain that can give you an advantage if you hold it or use it to your advantage. And this one, really, there's two in my mind, okay? There might possibly be three, or four, and I'll show you that in a minute. This lovely cottage is a great piece of key terrain. It's got a second level that'll give you some overview, especially firing into here. It is line of sight blocking, so I can use it to my advantage, okay? Great piece. The other one, obviously, its counterpart, the factory thing here, right? So it's got some good line of sight blocking through the backside. It's got some good cover that I can hold, and due to our analysis of avenues of approach, both on this side and coming through the center, it has great open view. Same thing with the cottage, especially coming this way, okay? Great open view. So I'm looking at the key terrain. I see, okay, I've got an obstacle here with a key piece of terrain right next to it. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of fighting on this map right here, especially if you place an objective down there, right? This could be another key piece. You can see over it, through it. It's great cover, great concealment. All right, which we'll get to at the end, but it could be another very key piece of terrain. All right, and this little ruin back up here is the other one that I saw. It has, again, a great view, so holding that ruin can be very beneficial. All right, that's a key piece of terrain. Then observations of field of fire. This is the fun part, all right? Basically, where is the enemy going to be where I can shoot them? A lot. So our avenues of approach help dictate that, all right? I know that they're going to want to move through here. Therefore, I want to be able to shoot that. So I can go here, fire in, here, fire in. Even on the edges way out here, which is kind of hard to see, but there's a little bit out there you can fire in. Conversely, on the other side, again, we have an avenue of approach here. Key terrain, fire in. Other piece that we might have thought of. Now, it's not quite as good because you're going through this this tree here, all right? But key terrain to fire in. Ruin up here on the top, firing in. So we got to find where are the spots where there's going to be a lot of ability to shoot. And in this case, it's kind of the intersection type areas of these roads. Okay, you can see, hey, here's some really good fields of fire. Even here down in the center, decent fields of fire. Now, if you're looking at your back line, you have to take that in consideration. So up here, big area back in here. Now, it's covered on both sides, but if somebody gets behind it, big field of fire. Okay, same thing here on this edge. Somebody gets up in here into this ruin, they've got a big field of fire this way. So you have to use it to protect yourself as much as it is to hurt the enemy. And the last thing is cover and concealment. Now again, if you're in any form of the way concealed, you're in cover in 40K. So find your areas of cover. This one again is big. So I see this as a really good key piece of terrain. All right, the more I analyze it. Concealment, line of sight blocking, big thing if you need to hide things. Same thing on this side. Okay, this one not as much, except from this angle or this angle because of the way this is lined up. This one big time line of sight blocker. All right. You take all those into consideration. You can do that even before you deploy and decide, you know what, with all this in mind, I really want to deploy on this half of the board. I have line of sight blocking. I've got a nice little obstacle if my opponent wants to come into my side of the board. I have a good key piece of terrain up here in the corner that gives me a good field of fire. And I have good motion out. I have good avenues of approach on each edge. Now, there's a caveat to that. You've got an obstacle on this side as well. That also hampers you. One more thing you can do with this, okay, in 40K is you can buy your fortifications. Now, with fortifications, you create your own obstacles. You create your own fields of fire. So with your own fortifications, for example, and the defense line down, you can create your own obstacles and your own cover and your own concealment. It's really, really powerful. So in this map, okay, let's say for example, I know I'm facing an army that's wanting to come to me. And I need to stay in cover. Well, where's our areas of fire? Again, the intersections. Let's say I don't have a choice. They're on that side, I'm on this side. Well, I want to reduce the fields of fire against me, maximize the field of fire against the opponent, and create obstacles. So what we can do is use our line to double up our space here. Now what have I done? My field of fire now on this side is more toward my opponent and less toward me. And I have a piece where I can have a good shot at him. Okay? Plus, now I have an equivalent barrier that they have, only I put it there. Let's say you're playing corners, okay, or the spearhead deployment. And I'm up here stuck in this corner. Well, again, there's a big field of fire up here. Well, let's maximize that. So I'm going to come off this terrain and give myself a good piece up here. Now, beautiful thing is, nobody said this had to be a straight line. So I'm also going to protect myself for an advancement up top. Okay? So we've got a little squiggle kind of thing going on, but it maximizes our field of fire here. Does that leave us open back here? Yeah, maybe, unless we're going to plan on moving. Nope, forgot a piece. Ta-da! Okay, so that's basically it. So as a quick review, take the line out. All right, you're going to have your obstacles. Look for the things that are going to hamper your enemy's movement. All right, you're going to have your avenues of approach. So where can you move? Where can your enemy move? You're going to have your key terrain, okay, that we've kind of talked about. You're going to have your observations and field of fire. Where can you shoot upon the enemy while they move? And your cover and concealment. Where can you hide? Where can the enemy hide? You've got to think about not just yourself, but your opponent to try to counteract those moves. And that's the application, okay, of the first tactical series. All right, if you guys want, I'll also do one where I go over army lists and talk about the know your enemy, know yourself. If you want to go over that, but it's completely up to you guys. Let me know in the comments or something like that. If enough people call for it, I'll do one. But until then, I hope you liked it. Okay, that's one thing you can start to apply to your own games. Very simple, very early, yet very powerful. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed. Like, share, subscribe. More to come. All right, see you guys next time.